attach the mic. Good evening, Prathamesh. Hi, everyone. Hello, guys. How are you? हाँ, मैंने माइक नहीं चालू किया था. और कैसा था वीकेंड? हाय अनन्या. गुड इवनिंग. हाउ वाज योर वीकेंड, गाइस? हमारा इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ स्टैट्यूट्स रह गया, उसके बाद हो जाएगा अपना अदर लॉस कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. सो क्या किया वीकेंड पे? पढ़ाई. सो टिल आई थिंक नवंबर तक नो प्लान्स, राइट? ओनली स्टडी. So which subjects are you studying right now? Hi Aditya. Chalo, let us revise the interpretation of statutes today and Companies Act भी start करेंगे basics. ठीक है? इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ स्टैट्यूट्स कर लेते हैं. आज हमारा थोड़ा सा बाकी था ना. आई थिंक हमने स्टार्ट ही नहीं किया था, मुझे लगता है. या क्विकली let us go through the provisions of interpretation of statutes. Okay, law and accounts. Great combination. That's good. Best backlog हमेशा complete करना चाहिए. That's good. बिना टेंशन नहीं रहती है नहीं तो. अदरवाइज अवॉइड करते रहेंगे ना, वो फिर कभी ख़त्म ही नहीं होता. आई ऑलवेज टेल माई स्टूडेंट्स की प्लान वीकली टाइम टेबल. तो क्या करना चाहिए ना आपको, मंडे ट्यूसडे वेनसडे हाफ डे. कि मंडे फुल डे यू प्लान, ट्यूसडे यू प्लान, वेनसडे हाफ डे प्लान करो. एंड वेनसडे को यू विल कंप्लीट द पेंडिंग ऑफ मंडे ट्यूसडे. देन ऑन थर्सडे फ्राइडे सैटरडे स्टडी करो. संडे को अगेन स्टडी ओनली हाफ डे. एंड देन वो जो 3 days का बैकलॉग है वो फिनिश करो. So you should plan your timetable only for 2.5, 3 days and then give time to complete your backlog. ठीक है, चलो let us quickly discuss interpretation, क्योंकि आज बहुत पढ़ाई करनी है. वीकेंड में हमने एंजॉय किया, आज बहुत पढ़ाई करनी है. Now, statute means law. So interpretation of statutes is actually going to teach us how to read and understand the language of law. See, laws are written in English language, and in English is a very funny language. One word can have multiple meanings, depends on the context in which it is used. Like, you know, when my son was small and तब वो spelling सीख रहा था, तो उसका हमेशा यही डाउट होता था, डियर DEER and DEAR की स्पेलिंग एक ही क्यों है. So then I had to explain it to him with the use of phonics या you know some other techniques. Then there are some things जिसका कोई लॉजिक ही नहीं बैठता कि नहीं भाई वो है तो ऐसा ही है. So English is actually a very complicated language. Although language has been the most important invention of mankind, but you should know कि ये तो बहुत confusing है language. भावनाओं को समझो, everything depends on the context in which it is used, the emotions in which with which you are using it. तो interpretation of statutes tries to explain it to us कि law maker का क्या intention था. What was the intention of the law maker when he introduced this act? तो इंटरप्रिटेशन हमें उस हिसाब से करनी है कि नहीं यार उसका ये मतलब तो नहीं होगा. तो इसमें भी ना स्टेप्स हैं. स्टेप नंबर 1, रीड द टेक्स्ट एज इट इज. ठीक है, रीड एज इट इज. इफ यू फील यार ये तो बहुत गड़बड़ मीनिंग आ रहा है, आई डोंट थिंक दिस वॉज द इंटेंशन ऑफ द लॉ मेकर, तो स्टेप 2 बोलता है कि अगर तुमको लगता है कि बहुत ही वेग है, देन यू गो टू द इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ स्टैट्यूट्स. तब आप यहां पर आओ. ये कोई एक्ट नहीं है, ये सिर्फ गाइडलाइंस हैं which help us to interpret the true meaning of the law. It helps us to go inside the head of the lawmaker. अब इस पे क्या टाइप के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं? मोस्टली तो थ्योरी क्वेश्चन आएगा, बट केस बेस्ड कैन बी आस्क्ड ऑन फ्यू ऑफ द डेफिनेशंस विच आर यूज्ड. ठीक है, फटाफट अभी गो थ्रू कर लेते हैं. These are few important terms which you need to know. Statute. Now statute, you will keep underlining the keywords with me. It is the written will. It's not oral, it's in writing. It is the written will of the legislature solemnly expressed according to the forms necessary to constitute it. तो lawmaker का क्या intention था जो उसने लिख के दिया है, that is known as a statute. It denotes the act enacted by the legislative authority, that is Parliament of India. तो ये हमारी law making authority है. Document is defined in the same manner as it is given in the General Clauses Act. So any matter which, this is the definition given under the Indian Evidence Act 1872 section 3 बोलता है. अब this was one question asked in the exam और students डर गए थे कि अरे ये तो एक्ट हमारे सिलेबस में है ही नहीं, ये तो हमारे सिलेबस में ही नहीं है इंडियन एविडेंस एक्ट. बट जो डेफिनेशन आती है वो लिख के आओ, ये मत सोचो कि अरे ये तो एक्ट है ही नहीं. सो द डेफिनेशन विच वॉज गिवन अंडर द इंडियन एविडेंस एक्ट सेक्शन 3, वही डेफिनेशन आपको यहाँ पर पढ़ाई थी हमने. Any matter which is expressed or described upon any substance by means of letters, figures, marks intended to be used. तो ये वही definition है which is given under the General Clauses Act. अच्छा, instrument क्या होता है? It is, you should highlight the words which you have to write in the exam. ये एक formal है, legal है, document है, writing में है. तो इसमें कितने सारे words आ गए देखो. इंस्ट्रूमेंट का मीनिंग क्या होता है? इट इज एनी डॉक्यूमेंट कैरिंग सर्टेन राइट्स एंड ड्यूटीज. ये मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया था नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स एक्ट में. इट इज फॉर्मल बिकॉज इसका एक फिक्स फॉर्मेट रहता है. यू कैन राइट इट इन योर ओन वर्ड्स, यू कैन नॉट प्रिपेयर योर ओन फॉर्मेट. इट इज अ लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट, लीगल बिकॉज इट इज एक्सेप्टेड एज एन एविडेंस इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. It is a document, it means it will have all the characteristics of a document and it has to be in writing because oral instrument नहीं चलेगा. It confirms a right or it records a fact. यही तो काम है document का. Yes, that is the work of a document. Then what is a deed? Deed again is an instrument in writing. It means it has all the characteristics of an instrument and it has to be in writing or any other legible representation of words on a parchment or paper. कहीं पे भी आप कुछ भी लिख दो, that is known as deed. Now in India, instrument, deed, इनका same meaning है. पता नहीं क्यों अलग से डिफाइन किया है, बट इनका सेम मीनिंग है. What is interpretation? Interpretation means reading the text as it is and trying to understand without adding your own interpretation. आप अगर खुद की interpretation add करते हो, then that is known as construction. So what is the difference between interpretation and construction? Interpretation मतलब the courts are adhering to the plain meaning of the statute. Plain meaning मतलब जो लिखा है, जैसा लिखा है वैसे का वैसे ही समझो. लेकिन अगर वो एब्सर्ड लगता है, कंफ्यूजिंग लगता है, अरे यार ये तो इंटेंशन नहीं होगा लॉ मेकर का, इफ दैट इज नॉट प्लेन, इफ इट इज एब्सर्ड, देन व्हाट यू आर अडॉप्टिंग इज नोन एज कंस्ट्रक्शन. कंस्ट्रक्शन मीन्स अपने लॉजिक लगाओ, फैक्ट सर्कमस्टांसेस लगा के अपना दिमाग लगाओ एंड यू ट्राई टू फाइंड द ट्रू इंटेंशन ऑफ द लॉ मेकर. अगर कॉमा की वजह से मीनिंग चेंज हो रहा है तो कॉमा बिना लगाए पढ़ो. अच्छा, एंड को अगर मैंने एंड की तरह पढ़ा तो यार ये तो बहुत वियर्ड लग रहा है, ऐसा तो नहीं होगा इंटेंशन ऑफ द लॉ मेकर. देन ट्राई टू इंटरप्रेट एंड एज और. अच्छा, अभी और लगा के पढ़ो, इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? हाँ, when we read and as or, it is making sense. That is interpretation. Try to understand the true meaning, intention of the lawmaker. Interpretation is finding the true sense of the form, whereas construction is drawing of conclusions that lie beyond the direct expression. मतलब facts and circumstances of the case, context में देखो, context में. अच्छा, to give you an example of this, एक बिल्डिंग पे लिखा था that trespassers will be prosecuted. मतलब कि कोई भी इधर आएगा बिना परमिशन के तो उसको हम जेल में डाल देंगे. अब एक पर्सन था, he was flying a parachute. Because of some technical defect, he had to land on the top of that building. Can we hold him liable? Can we prosecute him? लॉ बोलते हैं देखो, if you apply the law as it is, trespassers will be prosecuted. Yes, he is trespassing the building. If I apply the law as it is, he will be punished. But that is unfair, no? He faced certain technical issues. That is why he was forced to land on the building. So when we apply the facts and circumstances of the case, that is known as construction. And applying construction, we feel that no, it's an exceptional case. And you can't prosecute him for this, na? So construction will give me a better remedy. So I will apply the facts and circumstances of the case and go for that remedy instead of the mere plain interpretation. अच्छा, देन वी हैव मैंडेटरी एंड डायरेक्टरी प्रोविजन. मैंडेटरी मतलब दे हैव टू बी स्ट्रिक्टली ऑब्जर्व्ड, जैसे मस्ट वर्ड यूज किया है, मस्ट, यू हैव टू डू इट. बट डायरेक्टरी इज लाइक ओनली इफ यू सब्सटैंशियली कंप्लाई विद, वी आर हैप्पी विद दैट. मतलब मोटा मोटी 80% कर लिया तो वी आर हैप्पी. अगर आपने फॉलो नहीं किया कंप्लीटली, सो इट वाज नॉट गोइंग टू अफेक्ट द वैलिडिटी ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. तो कुछ ऐसा कुछ बड़ा काम नहीं हो जाएगा, दैट्स ओके इवन इफ यू डोंट फॉलो इट 100%. बट मैंडेटरी में द ओमिशन to follow it renders the proceeding to which it relates illegal and void. It means it is compulsory. अगर मुझे contract valid करना है, अगर मुझे properly perform करना है, then I must perform, I must follow these mandatory provisions. Then we have various rules, जैसे primary and secondary rules होते हैं. Primary rules of interpretation मतलब these are the basic rules of interpretation. The rule of literal construction. Literal means first you read the text as it is. Literal meaning मतलब जो लिखा है उसको वैसे ही समझने की कोशिश करो. So literal में try to read the text as it is. अब उसमें दो चीजें हो सकती हैं. The first is meaning is clear. अरे वाह, मुझे इंटरप्रिटेशन या कंस्ट्रक्शन की जरूरत ही नहीं है, जो पढ़ा उसका क्लियर मीनिंग आता है. Then adhere to that meaning. Interpretation is not required. लेकिन अगर meaning is not clear, यार ये गड़बड़ लग रही है, then construction करो, apply the facts and circumstances of the case. If the mechanical and literal meaning is absurd, then courts बोलेगा देखो भाई, अगर मैंने इसको as it is read किया ना, ये बहुत weird लग रहा है, तो एक काम करते, इसमें facts and circumstances add कर देते. must को may की तरह पढ़ो, may को must की तरह पढ़ के देखो. अच्छा, एंड को और की तरह पढ़ के देखो, अच्छा और में वो बेटर लग रहा है तो ठीक है ना, वैसे ले लो ना. रूल ऑफ रीजनेबल कंस्ट्रक्शन. यू हैव टू रीड द स्टैट्यूट सो एज टू लीड टू अ सेंसिबल मीनिंग. देखो पॉइंट्स आर द सेम, बस अलग अलग तरीके से लिखा हुआ है, दैट्स इट. इफ द इंटरप्रिटेशन इज एब्सोल्युटली वेग एंड मीनिंगलेस, तो फिर कंस्ट्रक्शन करो. बट इफ इट लीड्स टू सर्टेनिटी एंड मीनिंगफुल इंटरप्रिटेशन, so that is better, no? Then you don't need construction at all. Go with what is giving you a reasonable interpretation of law. मतलब what is closest to that. मैं ना कल एक एपिसोड देख रही थी ऑफ आमिर खान, एंड मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा जो उसने बोला. He said that whenever we make films, मधुराम, इवन इफ यू इतना जो मैंने दिया उतना बाय हार्ट करोगे तो भी चलेगा. मैं ना आमिर खान का एक एपिसोड देख रही थी, एंड इन दैट ही सेड दैट एज फिल्म मेकर्स, एज एक्टर्स, दे हैव अ विजन. यू नो कि जब स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ते हैं, जब मूवी बनेगी, दे हैव अ विजन कि ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा. बट व्हेन दे एक्चुअली शूट एंड व्हेन द फिल्म इज मेड, देन दे ट्राई टू सी कि वर वी क्लोज टू द विजन, जैसा हमने सोचा था, क्या वो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट वैसा आया है. कई बार बोलते हैं हाँ वैसा होता है तो मूवी चलती है. कई बार वो बोलता है कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं होता है, कि यू नो इट इज नॉट दैट कि हमने जैसा इमेजिन किया था. सो इन दैट केस व्हेन द लॉ मेकर एंड देन द मूवी डजंट वर्क. अच्छा, व्हेन द लॉ मेकर इज मेकिंग सर्टेन एक्ट, तो उसको लगता है कि मैंने जो लिखा है वो इस तरीके से इंटरप्रेट होगा. बट मेनी अ टाइम्स पीपल इंटरप्रेट इट इन अ डिफरेंट मैनर. जैसे when I also explain the lectures, I tell you certain things expecting कि यार ये तो समझ ही जाएगा ना इसको. But so many times there are students who are not comfortable with English. They feel कि अरे मैम आपको तो हिंदी में lectures लेने चाहिए थी. But you don't understand that the lectures, if they are in English, will help you to understand the concept in English and you will be able to write in English. तो आपके interpretation में गड़बड़ हो जाती है because you were expecting something and you are getting something else. तो मैं जब बोलती हूँ आपको, तो it happens that I say it in a particular way. I say it using certain words. Sometimes you don't understand it. So there is something where वो interpretation आता है. Okay? So we will go with the meaning जो हमारे intention से closest था. जैसे आमिर खान ने भी बोला, हम वो देखते हैं कि ठीक है ये विजन थी, हम उसको कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन क्लोजेस्ट कहाँ तक ला पाए. अगर वो क्लोजेस्ट हमारे विजन तक आ जाते, मतलब वी आर हैप्पी, मतलब हम इससे बेस्ट नहीं कर पा रहे थे. तो यहाँ पर भी वी जस्ट हैव टू सी कि हम क्लोजेस्ट टू द एक्चुअल इंटरप्रिटेशन जो लॉ मेकर चाहता था, हम उससे कर पा रहे हैं कि नहीं. दैट इज रीजनेबल कंस्ट्रक्शन. देन वी हैव रूल ऑफ हार्मोनियस कंस्ट्रक्शन. हार्मोनियस क्या होता है? See, sometimes what happens is that there are many sections, subsections. So let's say that I have in a particular act section 10 and I have section 21. ये दोनों मुझे ना कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी बातें बोल रहे हैं, दे आर टॉकिंग समथिंग विच इज कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी. तो लॉ बोलता है कि देखो आपको ना पूरे एक्ट को एक साथ लेके चलना है. सो यू ट्राई टू फाइंड सम कॉमन ग्राउंड, हार्मनी ढूंढो. तो रूल ऑफ हार्मोनियस कंस्ट्रक्शन क्या बोलते हैं? व्हेन देयर इज अ डाउट, डाउट इज द की वर्ड ओवर हियर, व्हेन देयर इज डाउट अबाउट द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड्स इन द स्टैट्यूट, these should be understood in the sense in which they harmonize with the subject. अब एक आपको एग्जांपल देती हूँ. एक एक्ट में लिखा था दैट, आई जस्ट इरेज दिस, दैट यू कैन हेल्प अ पर्टिकुलर पर्सन, जैसे अ पॉलिटिशियन, बाय you can help a person by recommending his name. Now let's say for example elections होने वाले हैं, मैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस में हूँ एंड आई कैन सपोर्ट द कैंडिडेट, आई कैन recommend द कैंडिडेट ऑल्सो. मैं और कुछ नहीं कर सकती, तो मैं उसको सपोर्ट कर सकती हूँ और मैं उसको उसका नाम recommend कर सकती हूँ. मैं किसी और तरीके से उसको हेल्प नहीं कर सकती एज अ कैंडिडेट. उसी का एक दूसरा सेक्शन बोलता है कि आपको अगर हेल्प करना है ना तो वोटिंग से कर सकते हो. अब अगर मैं इसको हार्मोनियसली पढ़ूं तो मैं क्या बोल सकती हूँ? दैट यस, एज अ गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट आप सपोर्ट कर सकते हो, आप नाम रेकमेंड कर सकते हो, लेकिन सपोर्ट में सिर्फ वोटिंग के थ्रू ही सपोर्ट कर सकते हो. सो दिस इज द इंटरप्रिटेशन व्हेन आई रीड बोथ द सेक्शंस हार्मोनियसली. The sections, subsections, they must be read as a part of an integral whole, not independent या interdependent. मुझे सेक्शन, सबसेक्शन, क्लॉजेस सबको साथ में लेके पढ़ना है और हर सेक्शन को साथ में लेके पढ़ना है. रूल ऑफ 𝗟𝗵𝗿𝘀, when there are specific words followed by general words. ये हमारे लिए कीवर्ड है, specific words followed by general words. अच्छा, जैसे मैंने आपको वहां पर लिख दिया आर्म्स, एम्यूनेशंस, बॉम्ब्स, आर्टिलरी एक्सेट्रा. अब जब मैंने आपको आर्म्स, एम्यूनेशन, बॉम्ब्स एक्सेट्रा वर्ड लिखा है, दीज आर स्पेसिफिक वर्ड विच आर फॉलोड बाय अ जनरल वर्ड, क्या वो एक्सेट्रा में फ्लावर्स, डेकोरेटिव आइटम्स ऐसा कुछ आएगा? नहीं भाई, वॉर से रिलेटेड ही वर्ड्स आएंगे ना. तो ये जो जनरल वर्ड्स हैं, दे विल टेक देयर कलर फ्रॉम द स्पेसिफिक वर्ड्स. ठीक है. देन वी हैव द रूल ऑफ बेनिफिशियल कंस्ट्रक्शन. अब जो भी लॉ आता है दैट इज इनैक्टेड जस्ट टू रिड्यूस सम व्हाट शुड आई से मिसचिफ इन द प्रीवियस एक्ट. अमेंडमेंट्स क्यों आते हैं? अच्छा, कंपनीज एक्ट 2013 क्यों आया? 1956 अच्छा चल रहा था ना. Because there were many loopholes in the 1956 Act, we had to address those loopholes and that is why we introduced the 2013 Act. तो लॉ बोलता है जब भी वो एक्ट किसी को रिप्लेस करता है, इट इज बिकॉज दे आर ट्राइंग टू एड्रेस सम लूप होल्स, दे आर ट्राइंग टू क्लोज सम लूप होल्स. तो ऐसी क्या मिसचिफ है जो आप उसकी क्लोज करना चाहते हो? दैट इज गिवन इन द रूल ऑफ बेनिफिशियल कंस्ट्रक्शन, ऑल्सो नोन एज द हेडन्स रूल, द पर्पसिव रूल या फिर मिसचीफ रूल. अच्छा, रूल ऑफ एक्सेप्शनल कंस्ट्रक्शन, कॉमन सेंस रूल. कॉमन सेंस क्या बोलता है? दैट कुछ वर्ड्स कंफ्यूजिंग लग रहे हैं ना, एक काम करो, रिमूव दोज वर्ड्स एंड नाउ रीड द सेंटेंस. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? हाँ यार, इट इज मेकिंग सेंस. देन डोंट कंसिडर दोज वर्ड्स. अच्छा, समटाइम्स और शुड बी ट्रीटेड एज एंड शुड बी ट्रीटेड एज और, बिकॉज कभी एंड को अगर एंड की तरह पढ़ा तो वो गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं. बोथ थिंग्स कांट हैपन एट द सेम टाइम. तो एक बार और की तरह पढ़ के देखो, यार इट इज मेकिंग सेंस, तो फिर एंड को और की तरह पढ़ो. मे शोज डिस्क्रिशन, मस्ट शोज दैट इट इज मैंडेटरी. अरे लेकिन अगर मैंने मे को मे की तरह ही पढ़ा ना तो गड़बड़ हो रही है. आई वॉन्ट दैट थिंग टू बी डन. हाँ, तो एक काम करो ना, मे को मस्ट की तरह पढ़ो. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? हाँ, दिस इज मेकिंग सेंस. आई थिंक दिस वॉज द इंटेंशन ऑफ द लॉ मेकर. तो ठीक है, फिर मे को मस्ट की तरह पढ़ो. कभी कभार मुझे स्टूडेंट्स पूछते हैं, मैम अगर उनको इतना ही पता था कि ऐसी कंफ्यूजन है, एक्ट्स गड़बड़ कर रही है, दे शुड हैव अमेंडेड द एक्ट ना. यार एक वर्ड के लिए यू कांट गो थ्रू द एंटायर प्रोसीजर ऑफ अमेंडमेंट. इट इज अ वेरी लेंथी प्रोसीजर. बोथ हाउसेज ऑफ पार्लियामेंट के पास जाओ, सब करना पॉसिबल नहीं है. देन वी हैव द सेकेंडरी रूल्स ऑफ इंटरप्रिटेशन, मतलब यूसेजेस. या फिर जो associated words हैं, they help us to understand the actual meaning of the words. See, meaning of the word is to be judged by the company it keeps. आपके पेरेंट्स आपको बोलते हैं ना, भाई संगत का असर है. संगत मतलब क्या? आप ऐसा काम करो बिकॉज आपके फ्रेंड्स ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं. So you are known by the company you keep. So when there are two or more words which are of a similar or parallel meaning, they are coupled together, they are used together, they should be understood in their cognate sense. Like say for example, मैं अगर आपको बोलूं business, trade and profession, ठीक है? ऐसे लिख देती हूँ. Business, trade, profession. Actually, these are three very different words. They all have their individual meaning. Okay, yes, Ananya, I'll try. So business, trade and profession, they actually all have their own individual meaning. But because, to give you an example, like CA is a profession. Doctor is a profession. Our police, not police, I'll take some profession, like in actor, that is also a profession. Now, as a chartered accountant, as a doctor, my duty is to be true to my profession. As a CA, I'm not doing business to earn profit. So a professional is a person who never intends to earn profit, although he earns profit in his business activities, that is undeniable. But it is not my aim with which I'm doing business. But because I'm using the word profession in connection with business and trade, it means the word profession is now deriving its meaning from business and trade. It is deriving its meaning from the words with which it is used. So because I'm writing the word profession along with business and trade, it means that the profession word will be considered as a profit-making profession. So associated words means this word will change its meaning depending on the other words with which it is used. So you are known by the company that you keep. Then these are internal and external aids to interpretation. Internal aids means you will find these helping words in the act itself. And external aids means you will not find this in the act, so you have to search outside the act to help interpretation. So long title and short title. Every act has a long and short title. So long title actually gives you a detailed description of the act, whereas a short title tells you what the act is about in brief. Like the Companies Act, short title says that this is an act relating to companies. And in fact, Companies Act doesn't have a long title. The preamble is the long title of the company. Okay, preamble itself is the long title. Now, preamble we discussed is SOP, that is scope, object and purpose of the act. So preamble defines the scope, object and purpose of the act. It discloses the primary intention ki why was the act enacted. So in case of any confusion, we will refer the preamble. Like in Negotiable Instruments Act, the preamble gives us information that this act relates only to it applies to only three negotiable instruments: promissory note, bill of exchange and check. So that clarity was given by the preamble. Heading and title of the chapter. Now the act is divided into different chapters. Like the Companies Act, it is divided into 29 chapters. Each chapter covers various sections. Like I want to incorporate a company. So I don't know the sections which are applicable. So go to the respective chapter and it will provide a list of all the sections that are covered, that are to be followed, complied with for incorporation of the company. I want to know how to issue a prospectus. Go to the chapter and you will find a list of all the sections. You need to comply with those sections to issue a proper prospectus. Marginal notes. These can be used only under exceptional cases to understand the meaning of the sentences used in the act. Definitional sections, they help to reduce the language of law, and they help to shorten the language of law. Instead of repeating the explanation again and again, we explain the word just once in the definition. Wherever it is used, it will have the same meaning. Illustrations. If you see the Bare Act, if you see the Bare Contract Act, you will find that there are so many illustrations explaining the provisions. Like there are sometimes 10 to 15 examples for just one section. But slowly in other acts, I think like the Companies Act and all, they have not given you any illustration, which I think should have been given because it brings a lot of clarity. it helps us to understand the concept. And that was done in Contract Act, Sale of Goods Act, Partnership, because they were all based on English law. And they really took a lot of effort in drafting their acts. Proviso is nothing but an exception. Okay, so I have written a section, but I want that this section should not apply in certain cases. So I write a proviso. Proviso means it's an exception. If this exception was not there, then the provision would be applicable to all. But now through a proviso, we are removing certain companies, or let's say we are not applying the particular section to a class. Explanation, it provides us with more clarity. Like if you see after the definition of the small company, or if you see after holding and subsidiary, the act itself provides the explanation, because we know that people will be confused. They will need some support. They will need explanation. Schedules, they form a part of the act. Like the Companies Act has 7 schedules. They all provide formats or information which I could not provide in the act. Like I want to know how to prepare a balance sheet and profit and loss. Go to the schedule. I want to know how to prepare, what are the CSR activities that I can conduct. So go to the act, go to the schedule. It will give you a list. I want to know what should be the form of memorandum and articles. Schedule will help me. If there is a difference between schedule and act will prevail. External aids, like sometimes I need to go to the history and try to understand why was this act introduced. Like there are certain acts which were introduced considering the economic situation at that time. So I needed to promote export. So I gave a lot of subsidies to export. That was the reason why those sections were introduced. Consolidating statutes and previous laws. If you see the preamble of many acts, it says that it is an act to consolidate and amend. It means we are trying to consolidate all the prior acts. And we are trying, like Companies Act is consolidating all the acts which were enacted in 1956, 1913, etc. Usage, these are the trade customs. These are unwritten rules. Okay, these are unwritten rules. Usages, these are trade customs. They are not written anywhere, but they are followed in a line of business since many years. So these usages will help. Like say in the Partnership Act, Act says don't give interest on capital, don't give profit share. But if there is a usage, if there is some trade custom, then you will get it. So we respect trade customs also. Earlier, later, and analogous act. So different acts will be taken, statutes will be taken into consideration. In case of discrepancy, the latter act will prevail, the act which was enacted later in time. Let's say that I have the Companies Act 1956 and I have the Companies Act 2013. Now 2013 Act has made certain amendments, but unfortunately, let's say there was some reference in the other act, and there I forgot to change it to 2013. So that doesn't mean that you need to follow 1956 only. Maybe it's just a typing error, or they forgot. The acts which were enacted later in time will prevail. Dictionary definition, yes, it is asked. Students, now question is asked on dictionary definition and use of foreign decisions. Okay, this will be for 2 marks and this will be for 2 marks. Both will be asked together as a 4-mark question. Dictionary. See, when you don't find the meaning of the word, like you are not able to understand it on your own. So what has your mom taught you? Go and refer the dictionary. Nowadays for us, dictionary is Google. So we quickly go to Google and say meaning of this word, how to pronounce this word. So even in the act, when the judge is not able to understand the meaning of that word, it is okay if you take the help of the dictionary. So sometimes we go to the dictionary and try to find what are the different words. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 variation, like you can understand the word in 2 or 3 different ways. So when used as a noun, when used as an adjective, it will have some different meaning. So where the word is not defined in the act, it is okay if you refer the dictionary to find the true sense or the general way in which that word is understood. Foreign decisions. Even today, if you don't have any provision in the Contract Act, or there is any case which you are not able to judge properly, you can still refer the English Contract Act, because English and American system, they have the same jurisprudence as ours. It means more or less the justice system is the same. So even today we refer English laws. for better clarity, for better understanding. So students, with this, we complete the interpretation of statutes, and it was done in record time. We completed this in flat 30 minutes. And for revision, I think it is very good. Now, I'll just show you the type of questions that are asked on this chapter so that you will have clarity. So referring my compiler, it is an exhaustive, detailed question bank. Okay, let me just go to general clauses and interpretation of statutes. Let's see the type of questions that are asked. Okay. So this is the interpretation of statutes, and I'll also show you the type of questions asked on the General Clauses Act. Many questions have been asked. See, the compiler itself shows me that up till now they have asked around 28 questions. 28 questions have been asked from this chapter from 2018 till 22. So see, mostly theory questions are asked, but yes, they can ask you case-based question also. But for case-based, you will need the knowledge of theory. You will have to write theory. You cannot avoid that. So what is a financial year? What is immovable property? Then registered post acknowledgement due. This is very frequently asked question in the exam. Again, it is most of theory only. Yes, question again asked on immovable property. From interpretation of statutes, you will find mostly theory questions. Explain Hayden's rule, explain grammatical interpretation. What is a proviso? So 2-mark questions. You are invited, how would you apply? Okay. What is the meaning of the word means, includes? So just define that. Differentiate between mandatory provision and directory provision. So mostly theory questions are asked from these two chapters. Okay, students? Chalo, let us quickly now discuss only the important parts of the basics of Companies Act. I'm not covering everything because there are certain things which you already know in CA Foundation. So what we are going to study are only the important provisions, and the important ones are OPC. If you have a notebook, please write the concepts. OPC is important. In private company, it can have maximum 200 members. So the calculation part of this is important. Like I want to convert my public company into a private company. Do I need to reduce the number of members? So you need to calculate by excluding the employees, etc. Public company is not asked. Government company question, yes, question on government company is asked. Government company, this is important for exam. Government company, you need to identify whether it is a government company or not. Questions are asked on section 8. It is highly important for exam because MCQs, case-based MCQs, then theory question, case-based question is asked on section 8. It is my expectation that this time, it is my prediction that a question will be asked on listed company. So you can write this as expected in exam. This is my gut feeling this time that they may ask you a question. And in one of the old MTP, RTP, there was a wonderful question on the definition of a listed company. So I would request you to go through it in the compiler, because if a question is asked on the listed company, 99% it will be the same question. Okay. Holding subsidiary, fairly important for exam. From incorporation of the company, section 3A is important. If you're writing, please write it. Section 3A. Section 10, this is my gut feeling that it can be asked expected, because it's been quite some time, but it will be for only 2 to 4 marks. Yes, incorrect information, it is actually a foundation level question, but if it is asked, it will be asked for 4 marks. And it is common. This is something which you have already studied in foundation. From memorandum, you can expect question only on alteration part, because others you have studied in foundation, but alteration of name clause, alteration of registered office clause, object clause, that is something which is new. So question expected on that. Then entrenchment can be asked as a short note. Not very sure. Can be asked as a short note. Yeah, that's it. So these are important sections for exam. Quickly, let us go through the basics. OPC, one person company. Now, as you already know that it is a one person company, minimum one member, maximum also one member. Question answer time. Yes. Tell me, what if the member dies? So how do I take care of that? How do I take care if the member dies or he becomes permanently incapacitated? What provisions take care of that situation? Yes, can you tell me what are the provisions which take care of death of the member? Yes, in case of death, we are aware that in case a person dies or becomes permanently incapable, there's just one member. So at the time of incorporation, we identify a person known as a nominee. This person will become the member in case the original member dies or he is permanently incapable of contracting. So we have only one person as a member and he is the director also. Minimum paid up capital, there is no requirement. You can incorporate OPC with even 5,000 rupees. Yeah, there is a limit on the authorized capital. You need to have minimum authorized capital of 1 lakh. Paid up, there is no limit. Memorandum will indicate the name of the nominee because we know that in case the member dies or he becomes permanently incapable, nominee will become the member. What is the eligibility of member and nominee? Last time I remember in my WhatsApp group, students were discussing provisions relating to eligibility and all. And next day in the exam, the exact same discussion was asked as a question. So we were all discussing the next day that good, there was an active discussion on that topic because it was asked in the exam. Okay, so what is the eligibility? Only a natural means living person. Only a person who is citizen of India, whether resident or not, can be member or nominee in OPC. Whether resident or not means even a non-resident Indian can become member or nominee in OPC. But because the word resident is used, we need to define it. So resident means a person who stays in India for at least 120 days during the immediately preceding financial year. Because of the amendment in the Companies Act, even in LLP, they have now made the change. And resident means a person who stays in India for at least 120 days during the financial year. Good evening, Venkat. Okay, I just cannot write name of the nominee, okay, just because it is a compulsion. I cannot write anybody's name. I need to obtain a consent, and the consent of nominee will be filed with ROC. So ROC will come to know that yes, this person's name is written and he has also consented to be appointed as nominee. Can we change the nominee later? Yes. Can the nominee leave on his own? Yes, that is also possible. So in order to change the nominee, member, okay, what will happen is, you can write it over here. In case nominee leaves, okay, in case nominee leaves, it is an MCQ, okay, in your MCQ booklet, in your ICI MCQ, this is question 20. Okay, this is the explanation for that. Nominee wants to leave. Okay, fine, you can leave. Just give a notice in writing. Okay, give a written notice to the member as well as OPC that you are leaving, that you don't want to continue as a nominee. Now, member shall within 15 days appoint some other person as nominee, because nominee has left the OPC. Okay, so nominee will give a notice to the member and OPC that I am leaving, I don't want to continue as a nominee. The member then will within 15 days appoint some other person as nominee. Now the member will have to inform all this to the ROC. So the member shall in form INC 4, inform the ROC that see ROC, nominee left and I have appointed someone else in his place. So this is the form which I am filing. It will also give you information about the nominee who has left and the nominee appointed in his place. Now, because a new nominee is appointed, we received his consent. I'm filing that also. So we will file the consent of the nominee in INC 3. Okay. So INC 3 will be filed for the consent of new nominee. So what is the procedure? Nominee informed the member and OPC that I am leaving. Member within 15 days appointed someone else as the nominee. Member shall within 30 days inform the ROC that old nominee has left. I have appointed a new nominee. This is INC 4 for that. New nominee has given consent. This is INC 3 for that. Okay, so we have to give a notice to the OPC. Here not member, OPC will inform. So member will inform the OPC and then the OPC will file because OPC is a separate person. So member shall within 15 days appoint new nominee. And then member will inform the OPC. OPC will then inform the ROC. No person shall be eligible to incorporate or be a nominee in more than one OPC. So I can't be member in 2 OPCs. Okay, I can't be member in 2 OPCs. I can't be nominee in 2 OPCs. But can I be member in one, nominee in another? Yes, that is possible. So I am a member in one OPC, nominee in another OPC. The problem arises when the place where I am a member, okay, so here I am member and here I am nominee in another. The OPC where I am the nominee, member dies. Okay, member dies. Now the nominee will become the member and he will nominate some other person, new nominee. Now you have automatically become a member in 2 OPCs, which is not possible. So within 180 days, he has to choose the OPC where he wants to continue as a member. Let's say he chose to continue in the first OPC. Now in the second OPC, when the member died and nominee became the member, he must have nominated someone else. Now he has chosen to continue as a member in the first OPC. So here again there is no member because he has chosen to be in other OPC. The new nominee will then become the member and he will nominate some other person. This is nothing but perpetual succession. So I chose the first OPC. In the second OPC, I cannot continue as a member. Nominee again becomes the member and he will nominate some other person. So this process continues. This is important, students. Minor cannot become either member or nominee of OPC. I cannot incorporate or convert. This is important for case-based questions. It is important for MCQ question. I cannot be incorporated or I cannot convert myself into a Section 8 company. OPC cannot be either incorporated or converted into Section 8 company. Yes, but I can be converted into either private or public company. That is possible. This is also important for MCQ. OPC cannot carry out non-banking financial activities, including investment in securities of a body corporate. I cannot carry out NBC activities, non-banking financial activities. I cannot purchase the shares of another company in the name of OPC. Can I purchase it in the name of that sole member? Yes, that is possible. But I cannot purchase the shares in the name of OPC. Okay, in case of private company, questions are only asked on whether I need to reduce the member or not. So while calculating the number of 200, I can have only maximum 200 members in private company. While calculating the maximum limit of 200, I will exclude the present employees. who are also members. I will exclude ex-employees who have although left the organization, but they continue to remain the member. Because we want company to allot shares to the employee. We want them to feel associated with the company. So we say don't include employees. Even if there are more than 200 employees, you can allot shares to them. We are okay with it. So present employees are excluded. Ex-employees, although they have left the organization, but they still continue to be the member, we will exclude them. Joint holders will be treated just like one. Okay, they will be treated one. Let us solve one question related to this concept. Yes, this is the question. Can you see the question? Now you have to tell me whether they want to convert to a private company, whether they are required to reduce the number of members. Yes, tell me. Come on. Are they required to reduce the number of members? Waiting for your answers. So will we consider directors and their relatives as members? Yes. Will we consider employees as our member while calculating the number of maximum 200? No. Ex-employees, they were allotted shares when they were employees. No, even though they have left the organization, they continue to remain the member. No. 5 couples, so I will calculate. Yes, I will include, but only 5. Only I will include 5. So 55 and 145 others. Exact 200. I need not reduce the number of members. So here I will first explain private company. I need to write the definition of private company. I need to explain whether I will include or exclude certain persons or not. So I will have to explain that person who are joint holders will be treated as one who were in employment, although they have left, but they continue to remain. I will have to explain that. Then I will have to show the calculation, how I calculated 200. And lastly, I will write conclusion that since the number is not exceeding 200, there is no need to reduce. Okay, so that I will mention over here. So this is how you will frame the answer. And what happens in students, there were a few students of mine who said that, ma'am, this is very simple chapter, na? I will leave it. Anyways, I had covered it in foundation. And they don't revise this and a question is asked from this chapter, the basics. So we feel that since we have already studied this in foundation, why do we need to study it? But questions are asked. Then you need to study the definition of a government company. See, government company is a company in which at least 51%, it's not 51, it is not 50%, it is 51%. It is a company in which at least 51% of the paid up capital is held either by the central government or by one or more state government or governments, partly by central, partly by one or more state governments. A subsidiary of a government company will also be considered as a government company. It means that all the provisions of a government company will apply. No, Kapoor, your answer is not correct. It's 200. I need not reduce the number. Okay. Students, in case of a foreign company, what is asked in the exam is the meaning of electronic mode. Okay, they will give you whether the company should be considered as a foreign company or not, and the part on electronic mode is important. Now, what is a foreign company? Foreign company, whether a company is foreign or domestic, depends on the place of incorporation. Now, if a company is incorporated outside India, it's a foreign company. Why are we even studying it over here? The reason is, even though it is incorporated outside India, it has a place of business in India. So for the Indian business, for whatever activities you're conducting in India, the Indian laws will apply. So it has a place of business in India, either by itself or through your agent. You are present either physically, you have a factory, you have a plant, you have manufacturing, you have a sales office, you have some business in India, or you are conducting through something through electronic mode like data computing, cloud management, or it is through social media. So telecommunicating, telemedicine, telemarketing, emails, you have some kind of electronic presence in India. So for that business, the Indian laws will apply. There is a question, and I'm telling you students, you need to know what is covered in electronic mode. See, this is the question which was asked. 𝗟𝗲 Limited is a company registered in Thailand. It has no established place of business in India. It is doing online business through telemarketing. Okay, so telemarketing is the keyword over here. The main server is located outside India. We are not concerned. Okay, we are not concerned where the server is located. The server may be located in India or outside India. But because you are carrying on business activities in India, the Indian law will apply. Whether it is considered as a foreign company, status batao. So now in this case, whether telemarketing is covered in the electronic mode or not. So what is the institute expecting from you? They want you to first write the definition of a foreign company. So foreign company means a company which is incorporated outside India. Outside word is important. But it has a place of business in India. That is the definition. Then what you need to write is, as per the rule given in the company's specification of definition details rules 2014, the same rule had also covered, it had applied the amendments to small company. The term electronic mode, it means carrying on electronically based. Students, this is very important for you, huh? Whether the main server is installed in India or not. Server is a device which stores your data. Okay, it's a huge device and it has immense storage capacity. Not like your small computer. Okay, it has a huge substantial storage capacity. So whether the server, now server is a place where the data is stored. So you just go to the server. When you ask for information, it goes to the server, fetches the information, gives it to you. It happens very fast. So whatever email and etc., whatever you are accessing in your phone, Gmail provides you with 20 GB or 15 GB of data, free storage. They provide you with 15 GB of free storage. So that is stored somewhere, no? It is in servers. That is mostly now cloud based. So it covers B2B, B2C, data interchange, deposits, financial settlements, web-based settlement, marketing, advisory, telemarketing. It is covered here. Telecommunication, telemedicine, education, all research, email, mobile device, your social media, anything which uses electronic medium, voice, data transmission. These are all electronic presence. Now you need to memorize this. Unfortunately, it is very technical. I totally understand that it is not possible to memorize all this. You can write in your own words, but how will you convert this into your own words? Sometimes students ask me, ma'am, we just wrote few words like web-based, we remembered web-based, we remembered telemarketing, we remembered telemedicine. That's fine as long as you cover what is asked in the question. So you can write telemarketing, telecommunication, telemedicine, education, voice, email, mobile. These are easy words which you can remember. Accepting deposits, B2B, B2C, data interchange. So even if you read 2-3 times, I think you'll be able to remember these provisions. So here, because it is present through telemarketing, even though it has no other place of business in India physically, but it will still be considered as a foreign company. So this is the answer. It will be treated as a foreign company. Section 8 company, again, very important type of company. So what are the characteristics of a Section 8 company? Students, you need to know the characteristics very well. They're expecting you to write certain terms as it is given in the Act. So what is a Section 8 company? You have already studied that it is a company in which they form the company to promote commerce, art, science, culture, education, protection of environment, etc. This is the first characteristic. It uses the profits for the promotion of the objects for which it is formed. So whatever profit they earn, see, they never work with the aim of earning profit. They may earn nominal profit in the regular business activity, but whatever profit they earn, they use it back in the business. They don't distribute it in the form of dividend. It is prohibited to declare dividend. Now, what is the use of Section 8 company? See, you get many privileges as a Section 8 company. But you can't just claim privileges one fine day and say, I'm a Section 8 company, I want all privileges. You have to apply to the central government for a license. Central government gives the permission in the form of license. That is why these companies are also known as licensed companies. After you obtain the license, you will get all the privileges of a Section 8 company. What if I start distributing dividend to members? We will recall your privileges. The central government will cancel your license. ROC will add the word limited or private limited to your name. And you will no longer be entitled to the privileges of a Section 8 company. So we have a special license. That is why these companies are also known as licensed companies. One of the privileges is that it need not use the word limited or private limited at the end of its name. They can use more suitable words like chambers, foundation, federation. Another privilege, see, these are the privilege, okay, this is the privilege. Another privilege is that normally the companies need to call their meeting after giving 21 days clear notice. Here you can give only 14 days. Another privilege is that you need not have minimum directors, independent directors. All these provisions do not apply. They enjoy all other privileges of a private company or a public company, as the case may be. Partnership firm can become a member of Section 8 company. That is another privilege. You need not add the word limited or private limited. But what if I contravene the provisions of this act? Then the central government will revoke the license. If you want to, see students, this is important for MCQ. This is important for MCQ. Alteration of memorandum and articles requires the approval of ROC. Without the approval, and it requires prior approval, not afterwards. Prior approval of ROC is required. Okay, prior approval. So yes, these provisions are important for exam. Then lastly, we have small company. Now, small company is nothing but a small sized private company. Now, many students, they thought that amendment was in the definition, but there was no amendment in the definition. The amendment was made in the rules. Which rules? We just discussed, no, companies specification of definition rules, definition detail rules 2014. So, what was the definition? Small company means a company. It is a small size private company. Okay, it is a company other than public company. The first thing that you should pay attention to when you read the question is what is the type of company. What if I give you A Limited and it is falling within the limits of a small company? You will say A Limited, this is a public company. I will not read the question. The benefits, the privileges of a small company do not apply to a public company. This is a public company. Public company will not get the privilege of a small company. Small company provides privileges only to a private company. So it is a small size private company in which it does not have paid up capital more than 50 lakhs or such higher limit as may be prescribed. So what is prescribed? It is given over here. Turnover as per the immediately preceding financial, profit and loss of the immediately preceding financial year, it does not exceed 2 crores or a higher limit as may be prescribed. They are only given suggestions that whatever you prescribe should not exceed 10 crores, should not exceed 100 crores. That was just a suggestion. Then now through the rules, they have mentioned, they have prescribed the limit. So now a company having paid up capital of less than 2 crores, turnover less than 20 crores will be classified as a small company. So how should we write it in the exam? In the exam, you will write the definition having the limits as 50 lakhs and 2 crores. Okay, in the exam, you will write this. Then you will say what is prescribed and write this note. You have to write this also. Now, in the question, how will I judge whether it is a small company or not? What limits should I consider? 50 lakhs, 2 crores? No, that is only for writing. those limits have been revised through the rules. So for checking whether the company is a small company or not, you will consider the limits as 2 crores or 20 crores. Now to give you an example, A Private Limited, okay, A Private Limited has paid up capital of 1 crore rupees and turnover of 15 crore rupees. Is it a small company? Yes, it is a small company because it's a private company and the paid up capital and turnover is within the limits. It will get all the privileges of a small company. But yes, the concept of small company does not apply to holding subsidiary company. Like I have H Limited and I have S Private Limited. Although the turnover and the paid up capital is within limits, but this S Private Limited will not get the privilege of a small company. Section 8 is not covered here. Then we have a company or a body corporate governed by any special act. So anyways, these are governed by us. They are set up under a separate act of parliament. Although they are company, the Companies Act does not apply. See, they are companies. The Companies Act applies, but as far as Companies Act and their respective acts are parallel, Companies Act applies. If there is any deviation, Companies Act is saying something, their special acts are saying something else, their special acts will prevail. So it is not anyways applicable to a company governed by special acts. From this, students, formation of company, section 3A is important in section 10. We will cover this and then stop for the day. Procedure you are already aware of. There is no change. Nothing is important from that. And this is rapid revision. We are covering all the important points. Now, we know that in case of private company, we need to maintain minimum 2 persons throughout the lifetime. At no point of time, the number of members should reduce below 2. And at no point of time, it should be reduced below 7 in case of a public company. But due to some dispute, many members of the public company left. And now only 5 members remain. Law has given us time limit of 6 months to reinstate the number to 7. So within 6 months, I will have to call 2 more persons and bring this number to 7. But what after 6 months? See, even if you don't reinstate the number even after 6 months, then every person who is a member of the company during these 6 months and after the 6 months, and he knows, means he is aware, he has knowledge that the number reduced, you were carrying on business with less than 7 or 2, then he shall be severally liable. Okay, he shall be severally liable for the payment of the whole debts of the company contracted after those 6 months, and he may be severally sued upon. Do you remember studying jointly and severally in Partnership Act? Severally means we are jointly liable, and joint liability means we are all liable. Like I am liable not only for my debt but also for debt of others. So here I will be severally liable. So joint liability means that we are jointly liable. I can compel any one person to pay the entire amount. Severally means I am liable for my share. So whatever is my share, that I will give. So person who was a member during those 6 months, and after those 6 months also he was there and he knew that we are running with reduced number, then he shall be severally liable. This is also important. It is my feeling that a question will be asked on commencement. See, at the time of incorporation of the company, you only mentioned that I am going to bring, let's say, 1 lakh as my contribution. So the subscribers to the memorandum, okay, the subscribers, they only agree to purchase the number of shares mentioned against their name in the memorandum. They have not actually brought that money in the company. So now you are just saying that, yeah, I agree to take shares, but where is the money? So law has given us time of 180 days. So within 180 days, I will have to actually bring whatever I have promised in the memorandum. I will have to actually bring it in the bank and provide a proof that, see, this is my bank statement. I've actually contributed that money, whatever I have promised in the memorandum. So company incorporated after the commencement of the Companies Amendment Act 2019 and having share capital shall not commence any business or exercise borrowing power. I will not allow you to do business. I will not allow you to borrow money. Unless a declaration is filed by the director within 180 days, it's not 6 months, it is 180 days. 6 months will give you more than 180 days. It is filed by the director within 180 days of incorporation that every subscriber to the memorandum has paid the value of shares agreed to be taken by him on the date of making the declaration. That today I am making a declaration and today we have received that amount in the company's account. They had each promised to contribute 1 lakh and they have actually, see, this is the bank statement. So we have to file the bank statement and the declaration by director will also be filed with ROC. Only after that you will be able to commence business and exercise borrowing power. So students, section 10 can be asked in the exam as a short note. Other provisions are something which you have already studied. It's not something that we need to discuss. These were the new provisions. Section 3A also was there in foundation, but it's better to revise it because it can be asked as a case-based question. Students, with this, we come to an end of mostly the basics. Only memorandum and articles are remaining, which I will cover in the next lecture, and I will also discuss with you prospectus and allotment of securities. So tomorrow we are meeting again at 7 p.m. I will finish memorandum and articles, which is just 1 page in my chart book. It is just a 1-page chapter. And we will also study prospectus and allotment. Okay, prospectus and allotment, 2 pages. So tomorrow we will study prospectus and allotment. I will see you tomorrow again at 7 p.m. Okay guys, all the best. And before leaving, do like the video, share it with your friends. And for the chart book and video lectures, you can visit my website, 𝗟𝗲masterslearning.com. So I'll just share the link with you. My contact details are also mentioned. You can contact me in case you have any doubt. Okay. The compiler, that is the question bank from which I was solving the questions, that is also available on the website, and also the chart book. Okay guys, if you need the sample pages, they are also mentioned, they are also provided on the website. We have fast track lectures for CA Inter, November 22, and those fast track lectures will apply to May 23 also. Okay, so guys, I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. Keep studying. Don't waste even a single minute. These few months are very crucial. Stay at home, eat healthy food, sleep on time, avoid social media as much as you can. Keep your mobile in other room when you sit to study. And keep in touch with your friends, your mentors, your teachers, so that they are there to guide you, to help you. And sometimes, just you need some motivation. So we are always there to motivate you, but you have to reach out to us. Okay. So reach out to people and don't stay alone at home, and, don't be cut off from your friends. If possible, join a library. It will act as a great motivator, because I always studied in the library and I loved that life. Even today, whenever I think of my CA days, library, college library, public library is the only thing which first pops in my mind. And I have very fond memories of my friends and the library space that I had. And I also visited my library where I prepared for CA final. So I went there and it was nice, quite nostalgic actually. But it's a different life, and later you will remember those days with great fondness. So keep studying and study for your parents. I always tell my students, it's not for you, it's not for your teachers or your friends. You are studying for your parents. They just want 2 letters as a prefix. Okay, they want that my son or my daughter should be a chartered accountant, and we have to fulfill their dream. They have given us so many things. They have fulfilled all our demands. This is the least, we can do for them. This is like a return gift. That certificate, chartered accountant certificate, my passing certificate, is a gift to my parents. So treat it as a gift and keep studying. If you feel demotivated, just see the effort that your parents are putting for you. Your father never complains that, you know, it is difficult for him in office or it is difficult for him at workplace. He's always there to support you. Your mom is always there. So do it for them. Just do it for them. ठीक है, चलो बाय बाय गाइस, कीप स्टडिंग, अच्छे से पढ़ो, स्टडी फॉर 12 आवर्स एंड इट विल बी वर्थ इट इन द एंड. वो आपको काम में आएगा. ठीक है, चलो बाय बाय. आई एंड